liberty, and justice for all.
Right. All right, as vice chair, I'm going to initiate this meeting, and I'm going to start off with a motion to reorganize our authority board. As most everyone knows by this time, we lost our chairman, Paul Batista, and with good fortune, we have Gary Farner, who has volunteered to come forth and be a new member of this board, and he's gotten approval and authorization to do that. And so I'd like to put forth a motion that we nominate Gary Farner as the new president of our board.
I'll make a motion that we.
I'll second that motion.
All right, very good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, our new president.
I hope. Or condolences.
No, very good, very good.
Well, tough shoes to follow with Paul.
Absolutely.
Paul, as we all know, did a fantastic job on this board. Yeah, he was very instrumental in getting this thing put together through the township. I can't say enough about what Paul did. Just so you people know that whenever Paul became ill, I volunteered to come over to be a member of the board. Not necessarily as chairman of the board, but, and Nanette had told me that he was so pleased, and it kind of relieved some of his stress that somebody was going to move over. So I'm here. Hopefully, it's going to be tough to follow in Paul's shoes. I'll do the best I can. My appointment from the township was actually effective the 26th. From our meeting, it was backdated because I had to sign some papers, and we can get into that for your insurance. So, I guess all other officers of the municipal authority are going to stay in their positions.
I believe so, yes.
Make a motion, somebody will need to make a motion, everybody else stay in there, will remain in the positions that they hold.
All right, I'll make that motion that the remainder of the board remain in their current positions.
And I'll second that motion.
Motion's been made. Second, any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Secretary's report.
Do you have anything on it?
You just had, we have the minutes from the July 3rd. So everybody's had a chance to review them. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Everybody had a chance to read them over? I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from July 3rd meeting.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I can't second, I wasn't here, so.
I can second.
Motion been made and second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Any correspondence?
No, the only thing that George had brought to my office was the bill for Higby Insurance, and we opted to pay that because it was approved to go with them. And so there was no lapse in the insurance. It needed to be paid by August the 31st, so we went ahead and took care of that.
Very good. I did get the mail today, and this is from the Washington County Conservation District. Incompleteness review,
What's the date on that?
August 12th.
Was that the wrong meeting? Well, canceled meeting,
Yeah.
but.
Because we got a comment letter from them on July.
Yeah, there was one in there from July 25th, and then this one is dated August 12th.
Okay, I've not seen that
All
one,
right.
so.
So,
I can
make
get a
sure
copy of that.
Get a copy of that.
And we also had correspondence from F&B for the last couple of months. Or the correspondence.
Okay, treasurer's report.
Begin with, we've got an audit that was completed. Let me give you two, so you can take one for the township.
All right.
Oh, I got- I have to go around. Do you guys need?
I don't
Okay. Oh, there is two here. If you do need one, I have an extra. I have two.
Here, you can, do you mind if I?
Let me also pass this around too.
Township.
They didn't find any problems or discrepancies, and everything was okay. If you look on, basically page 3, our assets, the current assets, total is $2,413,911. But that is considering a lot of different things. And our total liabilities and net position is $2,413.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a rub there. And then, I don't know if it's really necessary to go over all these different numbers there. Probably the capital is probably the best thing on page 5. The net cash flow from capital and related financing activities. The 2018, it's $30,000, and then if you go down to the bottom, cash and cash equivalent, end of the year is $9,298, which is an increase from 2017. That would be the summary of that. But we do have to have some things signed here and legal notices signed. I guess you'll be able to take care of that now, and it'll have to be sent out as well too for the, as for the legal notice. And there should be one more thing, I think. Two copies of legal notice, 2 copies of the annual report of municipal authorities. No, I guess not. I'm missing something here. Typically.
No, she hadn't sent it to me.
Excuse me?
She hadn't sent it to me, so what are you?
No, it's okay. I was thinking there was something that we sent to the state.
Well, the DCED needs to be filed, but they do that, so you'll get a copy of that
Okay.
back.
Well, we typically have it in here,
Oh,
but it's not here, so I will say something to her about that. I don't have it. This bill is.
Okay.
And, is there any questions?
We'll finish this one up. Is there a motion to accept the audit report?
I'll make a motion to accept the audit report.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor signify, any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Okay, yeah, that's what I gave Gary, it's right here, he'll have to sign it,
Okay,
and this is for our file.
correct.
This gets signed by the secretary. That's what it
I
says.
guess,
Jim?
Jim, you would end up having to sign it, that was,
Okay. It says secretary, so.
That's your legal notice that was posted in the paper, needs to be posted. I don't know if you have to send that back to her
no, it just
Okay.
has to be signed and
and you have to file.
advertised, doesn't it?
Advertised.
Well, that,
It's just that part.
that, your client copy was right here, that what she sent to be advertised.
Okay, right.
That's your legal notice posting.
Okay. So
Don't-
it just has to be filed.
We're publishing,
Right.
yeah.
But I mean, that's to be signed and sent back to Houston?
It should be sent back to them so that they can post it. You have to sign off on it before you put it in the
And
paper.
they'll post it, right?
They put it in the
Okay,
paper,
that's,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah, so that, you'll sign that, that'll go back
To
to
Houston.
the
your
auditor,
auditor.
and they'll put it in
And
the
they
paper.
put it in the paper, that is correct.
Yeah.
Okay, it always seemed like we always had to put it in, but maybe I'm.
No, the auditor's
Yeah.
supposed to
Auditor,
put it
yeah,
in.
my auditor
Okay.
always puts it
Well,
on
I'm
there.
sure that's what it is.
Yeah, you know, this is,
Do you want me to come
I'm
back to
presenting
them
bills to
then?
be
All right.
paid. This is flowers for
Oh,
Paul.
okay. Yeah,
We'll introduce that before we get off the.
well, we're
treasurer's
gonna,
report.
we have to do the financial statement and all that shit. too.
Sure, we're gonna just,
All right, well, our beginning balance was $6,700.19. And our bills totaled $4,715.74. And that was as of July 31st. Apparently we have two.
August is in the audit.
Okay. We are running a couple months behind here. I guess we're through in the other packet.
Mhm. It's August,
Okay.
in the September meeting. There you go.
All right, let's get this straight here. All right, August is, our total amount is $20,354.52.14. That is our, the bills that are due out. And our beginning balance is $2,771.51. We did move $15,000 in and left us an ending balance of $5,474.34. And that was on the August. Now, we're in September,
There's the one that's supposed to be paid today.
right here. That's July and August. I got too much paperwork.
Well, actually, we have to approve the financial statements from July and August.
Correct.
Okay, before we move on.
Yeah. no.
Okay, sure.
Motion to approve July and August financial statements.
I'll make that motion.
Motion second.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and second. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Okay, bills.
Now, we're going into August. We have $20,352.14 of bills.
You probably should go over the ones from September that weren't addressed first.
Okay.
In August.
Well, the ones that came between July and, August, I said that backwards, you're right.
All right, well, our beginning balance in August was $2,771.51. And our ending balance was $5,474.34. we did make a transfer of $15,000 to cover the bills, and the bills were,
Transferred the $15,000 back then to cover these bills here.
these
What he's
partic-
talking about, right, that
Okay, the
were
ones
here in
that-
August that we never got to because we weren't
There
here.
was no meeting last
No
month.
meeting,
So
so
you're
we have-
covering
Correct.
last month's bills.
All right, and the
Yes.
reason we transferred that money was because we had a bill for church real estate for $9,500. Sherry Crawford for $266.45. Yablonski, Costello, and Lecky for $400, and also Higby. Right?
That's in, that's in there.
Okay, but that's why we transferred that much to cover it.
Part of it, yes.
Okay.
And we had the other bill from Holzer and Company for $1,500.
Okay.
But those weren't presented until tonight.
All right. So, should I present them or not?
Yeah, present
Okay.
these ones
All
here
right.
for August to be
Okay.
paid from last meeting that was canceled.
Okay.
And then present
I guess I'm
tonight's.
getting screwed up, I missed 2 meetings.
Well, we all missed last month's
Yes.
meeting anyway, so.
All right,
So nothing got presented and nothing got taken care of last month.
all right, so we will have to okay this, and our bills are $10,166.45
For August.
for August. Thank you.
Well,
We need also need to approve these 9-4 bills.
Correct, which they've always approved them in new business. They present them now, and then they get approved in new business. So
That's how it's done.
But that was Paul's procedure. He'd like to hear some more discussion about why the bills were generated before voting on them. It can be done either way.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Okay.
I
know what you're thinking, and that's, we've always done it,
Well-
whenever we present them and they're approved. but
Yeah, that's the way I've
that's-
always.
But
And
that's,
that was traditionally the way it was done, but Paul liked it the other way, and it was really no big deal.
yeah, either way, it doesn't matter.
We can keep it that way. We may change it in the
That's
future, but for
entirely-
now, we'll keep it that way.
It's entirely up to you.
Okay. So that's it for that. Solicitor's report?
I had no report last month because of the circumstances that occurred. But moving ahead with the timeline that had been previously discussed up through the meeting in July, this has been a very busy month, which is unusual for me, which leads to a written report from me, which is also unusual. Okay? So I've given you a written report regarding my activities. And this basically primarily relates at this point to one final attempt to try to get as many folks as possible to voluntarily agree to the right-of-ways that are going to be necessary. As was discussed in previous meetings, we're probably a couple months out from pursuing eminent domain against any who continue to hold out for whatever reason they may have. And we wanted to try to do it voluntarily, friendly, and quite honestly at lower expense to everybody involved, which benefits the ratepayers eventually. So with that in mind, we went through the list of unsigned properties. We had to confirm the current ownership. It is surprising how many properties change hands in a short period of time, but we had to go through and verify that. Update the list, segregate from the list those that were reviewed for potential changes with the engineers, and we'll talk about that a little more. But basically, that kind of got stalled also because of Paul's passing. There had been some, and well, first his illness and then his passing, because Paul had said he personally wanted to do one final review of the decisions that had been made on the request for changes, who could be accommodated, who couldn't be accommodated, and who maybe could partially be accommodated. That didn't occur. So a question still arises whether that there needs to be that. I don't think it needed to occur, but it was something Paul wanted to do. If there's still a desire, you guys can talk about that later. All right, but that's something that has to be decided to keep that part of things moving along. As we were going through, there were a few discrepancies that were noted. These are often related to the change in ownership that had occurred, that we had to coordinate with the engineer. All of the easements had to be updated. No one anticipated, of course, Paul's passing, and every single one of them had his name on them. So every single one of them had to be changed. We have redrafted the new versions that there is not one particular name on there, but I would also ask that the board tonight, I'm assuming you're going to authorize that they be signed by the chairman, but I would like to have that in a formal motion at some point. Once that was all completed, correspondence with the updated easements to all the property owners started to go out. And honestly, I had hoped to have them all out before tonight, but it was just too much. We just did not have enough time. So as of the end of this past month, as of the end of August, 145 of them have gone out. The remaining are expected to go out within the next 2 weeks. That will then leave us with the properties that were under review. So we got to go again back to that issue. And then there's a handful that there were miscellaneous questions that I'm still working on with the engineer. But we will essentially, once we get through the ones that we did the review on, we will have asked everybody one last time if they're willing to do it voluntarily. And then we should know within a month or so what's left that we're going to have to pursue eminent domain against. I've received a number of telephone calls since these mailings have started. I provided attached to my packet a copy of the letter that is going out to the residents. And then I also have a running log, if you will, of calls that come in and what the calls are about. Actually, I printed this around midday today, and I had a couple more since then that I didn't have the ability to print because of my schedule. One of which I do want to briefly talk about in an executive session. I also would like to talk in executive session with the proposed pump station property, and we can do that after you cover all your other business. Okay, it's not something that's going to require formal board action, but it does involve matters that could involve both property acquisition and legal actions, which make it appropriate for executive session. So that's where we stand on that. We're moving. As I've mentioned, we have to stay mindful of the deadlines of the line of credit, which has to get rolled into the funding of the project, but in order for the funding to occur, this has to occur. I will tell you one recurring question that I keep getting, and we've gotten this before, is the property owners want to know how much this is going to cost. And I keep trying to explain, and many people do understand, some just don't get it or want to get it, I think, but that we just don't know that at this point, because it's going to depend on how much we have to spend, which we're trying to keep the spending down, how much funding we're able to get, which we won't know until we get through this part of it and we're able to apply for the funding, and then ultimately what the contract prices come in at. So, you know, I certainly understand the desire of people to know what that's going to be, but it's hard to get people to understand that you can't tie this to that, because this has to occur much earlier than we'll ever know that answer. So that's probably it. If anyone has any questions for me, and as I said, just a couple things for executive session.
So we sent out letters to even people that have been approved for a change, just not, no?
No. Anybody that previously had executed the easements were removed from the list. They're not an issue. They're already done. So what we did is we had a list of people that have not signed. We segregated from that list the people who had asked for a review in the many meetings that occurred over the past couple of years, and the engineers and I don't remember, I think all these gentlemen to some extent at one point were involved in the reviews of those requests. It might have been before you came in, Rich, because remember the big
Yeah, it was.
binder?
Yeah, I got the big
Yeah.
binder.
That's
and-
what that is. So
And
that
showed the list of people that were approved.
So those folks aren't currently getting letters, because their letters are gonna be a little bit different. Their letters are going to say, okay, we reviewed your request for change, and some of them are gonna be, we were able to do it. Hopefully, that's gonna be enough that those ones will then sign. Some of it's gonna be, it couldn't be accommodated, and here's why. And, hopefully those folks will understand, but we don't know. And then there's going to be some that, well, we could do this, but we couldn't do that. And again, well, so that's gonna be a little later, but not much later. That's gonna probably be, not in September, but in October.
Yeah.
And if we stay true to the timeline, we were looking at November, December to start the process of getting the eminent domain filing ready. That's gonna be a pretty extensive filing when the time comes. So, does that answer? Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask something? I just don't understand, like, I just need someone to go over this with me, this mapping of the sewage and where it's going, and I don't know who does it.
Yeah, I can meet with you.
Okay. I have questions on that.
Okay.
Just so you're clear, he's the engineer, I'm the attorney.
Oh, okay.
I deal
Then
with
switch your
words, he
letter.
deals with maps.
Okay.
Okay.
Kind of pointless, you don't talk to him.
Okay.
We'll go through the engineer's report, and then it'll be the citizens' time to come up.
Okay.
Engineer's report.
I never did
Okay,
that.
I've circulated my written report. I'll start with the stormwater and E&S permitting. We are still working on the comments that were received on the technical deficiencies. We hope within the next 30 days we'll have that resubmitted. One of the things that did come up, and it's one of the items that was in this August 12th letter that I'm just reviewing now, that we are going to need new signatures on everything, on all the applications that have Paul's signature on them. Because when we resubmit, we need new signatures. Yeah. So we'll have to take care of that when we go to submit them. But we'll be in touch on that. And then, I guess, as far as the design reviews, we're working through those. Hopefully in the next month, we'll start filtering updated easements over to Eric's office. We'll be going through the lists of who was approved, who wasn't. I have that all here, and we've started to go through some of the discrepancies we had on our list already. The two questions that are outstanding, one, prior to Paul's passing, he wanted to do one more sit down to go through the list. We've done that multiple times. I know that everybody wants to be confident in it, but we are, we're pushing time here. And I don't, if that's going to occur, we should do it.
I'm gonna bring that up under new business.
Okay.
I made a note to do that.
Okay. And the other question I have now that these letters are going out, I've actually been out of the office sick the last couple of days, but I've gotten emails from my secretary that people are contacting. What I feel like we may run into, which hopefully is not as much as before, is these people that now get this last letter are going to be now interested to say, can you come look at it? Look at my fence, look at this, look at all the things that we looked at for people when they came to the meetings. And we're really at a point where we're trying to take the ones we've already reviewed and move forward. And I just want to make sure, or ask the opinion of the board, if the response should be the easement does about their water well, and I sent them a map and asked them to locate it. But if people are requesting significant design reviews or changes or anything like that, I'm of the opinion that that ship has sailed, but I don't want to take that stance with residents without the board's approval.
And if I may chime in on that, we had discussed this, Brian and I, and my own opinion was pretty much the same, that if someone's just asking me, well, can you show me where this line connects to my property, or show me what I'm looking for? If it's a simple question about clarification of how to read the map, that's one thing. But if it's someone coming and asking for a design change when that has already been done, extensive work in that regard, and as everyone has to realize, you move a line 10 feet across one property, that means that something has to be done on the one on each side. I agree in terms of a recommendation. It's up to you guys to decide this, but I think that his dealings with calls of that nature should be limited to the extent of clarifying what the existing design shows, not entertaining requests for redesign.
I agree with that, because I know there was multiple meetings that were advertised where people could come if they had major questions. I know you guys went through quite extensive reviews, design changes. And at this point, I think we have to keep this project moving forward, and we can't really take steps back.
I'm in agreement
I would agree with you.
wholeheartedly.
So,
It needs to
I'm
move
good enough.
forward.
Yeah.
There's been ample time for everybody to voice their do's and don'ts.
I don't think that needs to be in the form of a motion, but it's clarified.
I think it just, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't want to take that stance without the board's
I understand.
clarification.
I understand.
Okay.
So
Questions?
that letter, you're going to address whatever deficiencies or notes in
Yes.
that?
Yeah, I can leave this here. It looks like we were copied on it to somebody else in my
Well,
office.
I can take a copy. I can go in the office and take
Okay.
a copy just to
But yeah,
make sure you have one.
this is mostly administrative items, signatures, things like that. So yes, this will be addressed.
Okay. All right. Citizens' comments. Now we're done. You can ask your question about your map.
Okay. So my question is,
Why don't you come up front and you can sit next
show 'em.
and show them what you're,
Yeah.
Might I write down your name?
What's that?
Your
Oh,
name.
Joyce,
Joyce.
probably Krelic. Okay, so here's my map. That's me.
Yes. So your connection point will be right here.
Okay.
And all we're requesting from you is a temporary easement should they need this area to construct this line. Looking at this with this fence line and how much
Is that what
right
this
away.
is the fence? Is that what
Yeah,
that's showing?
that would be right along the
Okay.
fence line. They will not be in here. They have enough room to work on the other side.
Okay.
But it's just in case they needed to lay down material or do something there, that they would have access to.
Okay, so what are these lines?
So this is showing you that these dash lines are the width and the extent of the easement. So they would only be permitted, should you sign, to go into the property where these dash lines are. But it's, like in here, they wouldn't go there.
Okay.
I would say, and this is not even wide enough, they have to restore anywhere they go. And we take a standard width to make sure they have room to construct. But if they're able to construct on one side or the other without disturbing this, that's a preferred alternative. So with your fence here and everything, they won't be in here.
Okay.
They wouldn't be here. They may have to lay down some material or something here, but it's unlikely. So yours is less impacted. Most people are dealing with permanent easements where the authority would have the future right to come back and dig up their line or access their
Okay.
line. The lines are in the streets, so you're not impacted by that.
Okay, so this is where I'll tap in at?
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make it.
How am I gonna get from the house?
You'll have to have a plumber. We try to pick the best place, but what I will say is these are not set in stone. The taps, when they come through to construct, they'll be working ahead of the contractor, and they'll deal with each property owner and say, is there a better place? Is this where you want it? They'll field locate where you think it's best to.
That's odd, 'cause that's the garage, and that would be got to come down, and this is the house.
Yeah, and
That's odd.
I think, I can't tell right here, but if you went this way, you're probably going uphill. It's all
Yeah.
downhill this way. So to run downhill and avoid this, you'd have to come through there.
Oh, yeah, because
Because
it
you
was coming
can-
up through the house and the garage, that'd be
Yeah, or
yeah.
you'd have to come down this way and go. So that's, but
Okay.
if there's an easier way in the field, these are just shown in the best estimated locations for now.
Okay, so this, what are these lines again?
This is just, this and this are just showing you that it's a temporary construction easement.
Oh,
Those are just
I thought
pointing
they were
to,
like
form I
running
had to
through the
sign.
yard.
no,
Sure, it's
it
for
is
the
pointing to this shaded area,
non-terrorism
labeling it.
part of
Got
it.
it.
So all you're really
Okay.
worried about is this shade and this shade.
Okay. Okay. So that's just for them to store stuff there if they have.
Yeah, if they had to, but
Okay.
looking at this, there's
You
a
were-
very
you were long
slight
gone.
chance that they
Not a
would.
ton of room.
No.
They had
But like I
called
said,
us
what we
up.
do is if this was right down the middle, this would be shifted. It's just a standard width that we give them on either side
They
of the
sent it
line.
to me.
Okay.
But
faxed it
they
to my
don't
house,
use
I
it all,
signed
and
it,
if it's
faxed
not
it.
practical to
It
use
was
it,
either
they
the
don't use it.
confirmation
Because then they would have to
or fax
restore
on the
your fence, they'd have to restore your yard, your fence, your driveway.
Right.
They don't have to do that, it costs them more money.
Right, got it. Okay. All right, that's all I need to know. So now my husband has to be here to sign this with me, huh?
If it's in both names.
It is.
Yes, so that they can both be notarized.
Okay, so how long do I have to get this back to you? He works night shift, I work day shift.
I was gonna say, she can sign it.
You
and
can
then
sign
I can
and then
notarize
he
it
can
and
sign,
then-
she can
Then he can go
notarize
and
just
do
as
his.
to you and then he can take it to a notary as to him.
Okay.
Okay, while they're taking care of that,
Very early on in this process, I did reach out to the township. I stopped down numerous times, and I never got anybody to come and talk to me. And now we're in a, where you're tearing out pretty much half of the side of the house according to this. I don't know.
Can we get the gentleman's name?
I was just gonna say, we need your name.
Ron Carter?
You say Ron
Ron
Carter?
Carter.
Yes.
Ron, might I ask, did you call and leave a message on the machine as well at some point in time?
Yes, I talked to his wife today.
Well,
Yes,
because, and I had
personally did
listened,
not.
this was one way back when Paul asked me to get
Oh.
messages, and he said, if you can figure out who this voice is, because you didn't
Well,
leave a name.
I stopped down several times. This was years ago, probably.
Right,
Nobody
okay.
knew. So I,
But recently, the message, and Paul asked me, he goes, see if you can, like, if
Well, it
you
wasn't
know the
recent.
voice, or,
wasn't recently.
Is this?
oh,
I'm sorry,
okay, then
is
it wasn't
on
you,
or
it's
off?
somebody else.
Oh.
There was a message, but I'll talk about that later.
Did you ever bring those to any of the meetings where we had, something, they were advertised?
I think perhaps part of the confusion here may be that the municipal authority and the municipality are two different entities. Even though we're sitting in the same room, and some of the people are now the same, it wasn't that way. And if you come in here talking to the township manager or the township secretary, they don't know a whole lot about what's going on. This is the authority's matter. But the authority has been available, and as was mentioned, there were numerous meetings that were made available. But I think if there's any questions, maybe Brian can answer
Yeah,
this.
okay, so you're similar to her, there's no request for a permanent easement, once construction's over, these go in both areas. So what we're looking at here, this shaded area is the access that they're requesting to construct this board. So all that is during construction, and it's shown, if you can visualize this, it's shown as a square, then where your house is, it's not shown there. But they won't take equipment that close to your house.
When this
Yes.
first came out, I approached
If it's an
Paul, and I
option
said,
for
where
you.
that dot is at, is where my septic tank is at.
Where is yours done?
Okay,
So I said, what are you gonna do?
it's right there, because this is where you would tap
It
it.
is right there.
Okay, well, I mean, had we not known, it would end up in the field getting probably relocated a little bit over, wherever we can fit it, because we're not taking, this is your tap, we're not taking a permanent easement. This is all just temporary so that they can construct this
Yeah.
line.
Down.
Same as over here.
And then he can call my
This, they
office.
probably won't even
Okay.
need to use. This, there will be a bore pit, and then they'll restore all your property back to like new. And this
And
would
then
be
he'll
your
just sign
time
here.
application.
Yes.
As of
Yeah,
explaining
he-
to her,
yeah, he can't sign, I need
the,
your driver's license.
lateral
actually, sorry, the thing
connection
comes, yeah.
points can be field
Um,
adjusted. So if
yeah,
it turns
he'll
out in the
sign that in
field
front of
that
the
it was
notary,
better that
and
it's
then
over
he'll
here,
do just like
it can
I
be
did.
adjusted, and
Okay.
it's not going to impact.
He'll sign,
Sign
yeah,
off
he'll
the
sign,
deed.
he'll
We're not
sign
even
there,
requesting a
and the
permit.
notary will know.
All we're requesting is the
The
right to
notary will fill
access
this
this
out,
area,
he signs it, and
construct
stamp
the
it,
line,
or if he brings
and then
it back
we'll
to me,
restore it
and then we
back
keep
to
it
the original
notary.
condition.
Once it's filed, we'll go through the copy.
That was my original question.
No, that's.
Yeah, I mean,
when we get it.
I don't recall this one specifically, I don't know if I talked with Paul on it. We have a lot, and I guess the one thing I should have stated is that as we go through this with the letters, I do think that there's gonna be a handful that they may have talked to us at one point. We didn't think anything needed to be done, but now they're saying that they were, they had requested something. Not saying that isn't the case.
Take this
Um,
with you and then he needs to come over. Okay, you can let me know. All right, thank you. You have a good night.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that that would be a
Take care.
field
Thank
change.
you.
Thank you, man. You're
We're
fine.
gonna-
Because
Thank you.
we would need to locate exactly where it is in the field before we adjust that.
Done, that's where it's at.
Right on that. Then it will need to be.
It's an advantage of having access to the office and copies.
Okay,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
I'll
You guys could
review
know
the
that.
location of that. But what I would say is,
That's huge.
this is, I don't know that I'll take the design.
That's a
drawings,
field
it would be
area.
a field change.
You and me
Um,
both, probably.
We're not
you and
requesting a
we'll have
permanent
but that's
easement
okay
from you,
too.
so
There's a copy of that
don't
for you.
necessarily
Thank
need
you.
that in permanent writing. This area would suffice for us.
That's just for the contract to deal with what they
Can I,
can.
what was your, sorry, let me-
We're on Carter.
Yeah, I just want to look at the right of way number.
I came in late on some of this too, Gary. Has all options been explored as far as the cost, keeping the cost down? Has the Paris,
I knew, but
the Paris option was explored and?
Yep.
Yeah, the system's design. We're going to permitting. We started permitting.
We're at the stage where the house is mainly built and we're putting the shingles on.
you want a copy of that's a letter from the conservation?
Sure. I probably don't need it, but I'll take it. There you go.
Don't tell me that, I just think too.
Yeah, there's been extensive work done as far as the layout, and different ways to do it, trying to keep the cost down. I know that for whenever, because Paul used to keep me informed of what was going on. And it has to be done because the DEP came years ago to the township and says either you do it or we'll do it, and you don't want them to do it. So it's a process that started, how long ago did it start, George?
Well, I came here in 2007. How long have you been here?
Oh, have I been here? I think 1997.
So it's
Paul
a-
was 2006. He
Yeah,
was a year
it's a
ahead.
process that's been looked at and massaged and redone, and whether to put two plants or,
Three did originally.
originally there was three, then there was even look at tying in with Cecil at one time, and that didn't work, and there was talk about tying into
Yeah.
Mr. Ferguson.
Burgettstown, and that wouldn't work, so yeah, it's been looked at.
I don't think so.
Trying to keep it as cost effective as we can. So, and I talked to your wife, because there was a message for me here, and from two people, and I returned both of them, so. Okay, thank you, sir. No. Yes, sir.
I just got a comment. Have you thought of a name for your plant whenever you get it done?
I've been thinking of that, and
You're probably thinking the
I
same
think
thing.
it appropriately
I think we all
be
have
called
the same
the
thought.
Paul Batista.
I just want
Yeah.
to, put that out there as
I've been
a
thinking of
citizen
that
of the
already.
township, that's all.
Yeah,
That would be great.
yeah. Thank you, sir. Okay, any no other citizens' comments? Old business, of course, there's still a vacancy on the board, which has been there for quite some time. Update on letter to easement non-signers. This is the letter that both the solicitor and the engineer talked about, that Paul wanted one more review. It doesn't do me any good to review it. If you guys don't want to review it, I mean, after all this time and all the work they've done between the solicitor and the engineer, I think it'd go ahead with it.
And some of the members of the board who all sat down and reviewed that once.
Yeah, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I actually got it on signer letter in the mail.
You
Do you want,
Yeah.
do you
Oh,
need
really?
that in the form of a motion, or?
No, I think that you
Just
just need to
clarification.
authorize that the engineer's going to then move, we're gonna move forward with the review determinations as have been made. And just so it's clearly understood that that's the process that's being followed.
And of course, I've been involved in more meetings than I can count, but several going through the mapping and all the requests that were, or all the changes that were requested. If I come across something that I think is on the wrong list, or there was a question on that I think that you may want some input in, I will certainly bring that to you.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so we don't need any motion on that. New business,
Yeah, I got some bills to be paid. I don't know if there's anything else, but I'll do that. We have a bill for Higby Insurance, $2,715. KLH Engineers, $400. What do you call it, Cruiser and Company for $1,500. Sherry Crawford, $256.39. Blonsky, Costello and Lecky is $15,480.75. And that is mostly for those letters that has to be sent out, or that was sent
The
out.
invoice is attached to
And-
it.
Excuse me?
The invoice is attached to it.
Yeah, I do have the invoices. If I have any questions,
I'm just wondering, what was that Colzer and Company for?
say it again. Oh,
That was an
it.
appraisal on the
Oh.
potential pump station that we're gonna talk about in executive session.
All right.
Yes, that's exactly what that was. That total is $20,352.14. So I would have to get an approval on this.
I'll make a motion to approve the bills as read.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made, second, any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Time out, back up.
All right.
We have one more bill. This is for the flowers that for Fort Paul, for $87.98. So we'll back up and I will add that to my motion.
Okay.
To pay the bills as read.
Here, you want me to go ahead
You'll
and bring it out?
Still got second that?
Yes.
Motion.
Bruce did, actually.
I second it, yeah.
Motion's been made and second. Any other questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries.
Okay, now, we don't have enough money to pay our bills, though.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking
We
here.
probably need to move about $20,000 into the account.
All right. I'll have to go. Can you just do that electronically?
I have to do it, you have to call Burke.
Yeah. Paul and Jim were the only ones that
He
could
may
do
be
that.
reluctant to do that immediately before he gets that letter confirming your
He just
appointment.
needs a copy of the minutes from the township.
Well, he said he needed something in writing that shows that you have been appointed and are
That
now
would
the
suffice.
chairman of the committee.
The minutes would suffice.
Should
It
suffice.
should.
From the
Yeah.
The township minutes?
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, I think I may have a copy of those, so. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the transfer of funds of $20,000.
I'll make that second, I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Any other new business?
I'm not aware of any.
Okay. Next.
I'd like to have a motion that, as to who you're authorizing to sign the easements made, since Paul was the previous signer.
I'll be happy to do that.
I mean, you're gonna sign it, it
Or
doesn't
I
matter,
can sign
whatever.
it.
You can have multiple ones, I don't care, it just needs to be a motion that says whoever's going to sign them is authorized to do so. It can be, you can name two, that might be a good idea in case someone's unavailable.
Right, that's a good point.
Yeah.
So, if you wanna say the chair and the vice chair, that's fine.
One or the other.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
You want to make that motion?
Sure. I make a motion that the chair and vice chair is able to sign the letters that are being sent out.
Either one, not requiring both.
Right.
Either one, not both.
Second?
I second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next meeting will be held October 2nd at 7 o'clock. Make a motion, we adjourn, and we're going to have an executive session, but we will not reconvene because there will be no business taken after the executive session.
Correct.
Okay, which one of you guys wants to sign these two? I just need sign and then print your name underneath.
Hey, Ronnie, good seeing you. How are you?
Good, you? Good. My answer came out of field. Down 519.
Oh,
Kay Gross, redid the barn.
Oh, okay.
And there's Jimmy Dillon's and there's us.
Oh, okay.
That was my grandma's old
Oh,
place.
okay. You come in there. We're starting right there, right? Thank you.
Yep.
I'm in Weston.
Who's it? You.
Weston, you're not that far down.
What these are.
No,
No, you're just
I'm
down to the road here.
two down,
Yeah,
turn out
yeah,
519.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it worked.
Beside Suzuki, the old Suzuki.
Yeah.
Two down from the Suzuki.
Gotcha.